really want somebody that can just go in and cause the enemy team to collapse, and then you strike. You know, Magnus finds his opportunity to get a good RP off. Ember can kind of do it. He's able to go in and scout, and then in this sort of a game, he only needs to really be worried about the lift. So he can go and scout and create those opportunities, but seeing the Gyrocopter come out, Fnatic just immediately go for the Wraith King, soaks up all that burst damage, and he gives you that factor of Wraith King's just going to wade into the fight, and if they kill the Wraith King, you get the AoE slow, sets up for an easy blink skewer into an RP, something along those lines, collect a couple of heroes together.
10 seconds remaining.
I like the Wraith King pick here a lot, and he's also quite a strong laner. So if they are running the Magnus as a support, which I'm not sure that they are, it would be a little bit weird to save their final pick of the draft for their position 5, but that could be what they're going for here. I do know that they... who's been playing it recently? So it's actually been Jabs, who played it in their most recent match. So could just be Magnus 5, Lush 4, Ember 2. So then they'd just be looking for their position 3. Could also be position 3 Wraith King, but that seems to have fallen out quite heavily recently. The one interesting question to ask is what build the Wraith King is going to go for. Will he still go for your Midas Radiance kind of a rush when he's got the Empower, or will we see him consider some kind of Armlet, Blink, Deso, something a little bit more right-click focused, especially since he has the Ember to sort of be bringing the magical damage. I think it would be nice to see him go for a slightly more right-click focused build, because you know what the Gyrocopter is going to do. The Gyrocopter is more than likely just going to go for his like Maelstrom Ags BKB. But if you've just got big physical damage on the Wraith King by that point, you're talking about like Blink Armlet, Blink Armlet AC, Blink Armlet Deso, you know, maybe a Basher potentially as well. Then Gyrocopter's BKB is not going to be very scary for you. You'll just be able to man up, trade hits, waste out that BKB duration, and then give your team the opportunity to go in afterwards. So Invoker is the ban. Sand King removed by Cignal, so they have the same kind of read. Magnus 5, Lush 4, Fnatic potentially looking for this position 3 Ice 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 hero, but they come back with the Keeper of the Light. Okay, so we'll have to see who's going where. It might be, was it Lesh 3 in this case? Or could even be Lesh 1. That's not necessarily an SEA special, I would say. That's more of a China thing, but it could be an option. We'll just wait and see who picks up what. As Cignal, how are they going to round out the drafts? More than likely it needs to be...
5 seconds
I guess it's their mid in this situation. I'm not sure. I mean, the Fnatic banning Invoker could be... What? Could be position 4. Could be mid. Tiny could be position 4. Could be mid. But I really don't like 5 Rubik. The only hero out of their pool so far that I think can really play 5 is Abaddon. So I think it should be Abaddon 5, Rubik 4. Tiny is off lane or mid in that situation. But I don't know what you really want here. What is the answer? Fnatic's lineup just looks really solid. They've got good late game scaling. I have been wrong in the past. There was a game where I was like, Wraith King, Ember, Magnus, that's super strong. Wraith King is just a monster in the later stages of the game. And turns out that Gyrocopter is actually just an amazing late game character. I think he did have an Ogre on his team in that situation, so that kind of that changed things around a little bit, but you know, not so much that it was all about the Ogre. It's just that Gyrocopter does actually scale really well into the late game, and Wraith King does fall off a little bit. Depends on your item decisions and stuff like that. I think Wraith King can be a harder right-clicking carry than he's sometimes given credit for. He sort of has the Alchemist situation where if you're going for the Radiance, maybe later on the Radiance becomes slightly less useful, and if you sub it out for another damage item, then you're a much more potent right-clicker, especially with the Empower. But we will have to see what 23 Savage does here, as it is Ice Ice Ice, playing on the Magnus. Jabs is going to be playing the Coddle. I said that it's unusual, but they are going to be using that last pick for the Keeper of the Light. If anyone who is just watching the SCA Decider match would have seen just how powerful this Ember plus Coddle combination can be. Of course, there is going to be the Abaddon doing his best with the Aphotic Shield to try and dispel that off here and there, but still very scary. Lots of really, really good targets for the Chakra this game. And so much AoE teamfight from Fnatic between the RP and the Will-O-Wisp. Though Cignal, no slouches when it comes to the AoE teamfight either. They've picked up this Tidehunter as the last grab. They do have the Tiny being played mid, so Jamesy's going to be taking that mid. Grims is their 5. I think everybody's on pretty comfortable heroes, but we'll see how Tide does. It was it at TI that it was like Tidehunter. It felt as though Wraith King was kind of getting exposed by Tidehunter a little bit. Like, we saw these Tides going into lane and getting points in Gush early, and just abusing Wraith King's super low armor early on. I need to make my minimap small.
Prepare for battle.
But we saw Wraith King just dying over and over in lane to Tide, and that situation is not going to be made any easier by some of the recent changes with the armor nerfs and whatnot. So it'll actually be really interesting to see in this game what ends up happening. It does seem like they might be trying to dodge out of the way for now, so they're putting 23 Savage in the side lane, on the off lane, and Ice is actually coming down here to the safe lane for now. Have Cignal anticipated this? It seems like they have not. Tide's gone for the Stout early on, which does kind of indicate that he wants to go for more points in the Gush. What's going on here? Good. It's always cool casting. Well, I guess any region has this, but SEA games I think tend to have a little bit more of the all chat at the beginning. Grims does come and scout this out now, so we'll see if Cignal try and make any sort of lane swaps. Nando might just run all the way bottom to try and get the lanes that they want. They really want this Tide matched up against the Wraith King, because he doesn't really die to the skeletons at all. He clears the skeletons really easily, and the Gush minus armor puts a lot of pressure on Wraith King in the early stages. And Rubik with a little bit of a bluff here. Ice says, get the hell out of here. Grabs the rune. And it is just going to be... Actually, it's going to be 3 bounty runes for Fnatic, as DJ manages to grab this one over at top. Complete whiff on the stun, however. But yeah, we do have the swap up coming. So Van's over here. Rubik also running over. Grim's now heading bottom. Nando's already there blocking. So we'll see if Fnatic will choose to try and swap back. Maybe they'll, go for some TPs and potentially force a kill or something. Jabs has actually picked up the Illuminate early on here. They've made the decision that they're just not going to let Van into the lane. They've seen his Stout Shield. It's blocking a little bit of damage, but this is a very scary tri-lane. Lots of damage from the Fnatic side. So this might even be how they choose to run things now. Just full tri-lane, run some side pulls, protect the Wraith King from the Tidehunter that way. And your mid lane matchup is honestly a little bit boring. Ember versus Tiny, melee versus melee. Some kill potential, depending on spell usage, not being careful. But in general, should be this top lane. That's the most interesting, though. The Keeper of the Light's already rotated bot, so Jab just going to be down here helping out Ice, and I guess they've decided that they are okay with having the Wraith King in this matchup. Though Van, already level 2, and has just gone for a point in Kraken Shell and an Anchor Smash. So not sticking to his guns and not going for the early points in the Gush. Oof, very nice dodge from Erice. But I can't say I'm a huge fan. Nice range keep secure. But yeah, can't say I'm a huge fan of the no points in Gush. And now Rubik's in really big trouble up top. Pops a Fairy Fire already. DJ can keep on chasing, looking for the auto attacks. The Fade Bolt reducing the damage, but DJ not done. Goes for the stun, will not be able to land it. But Tide, all he can do is just sit there and spam some Anchor Smash. I really, really wish he'd gone for the point in the Gush, but I guess we'll see. So far, Earth King seems to be farming okay. Tide's also got some decent CS. Grims, what are you up to here, buddy? Don't get skewered under the tower. Alright. He's all good. Mid lane, 10-7, 6-0. Tiny doing his usual thing of winning these melee versus melee matchups, at least early on. He did pick up a Bassi early, actually. Somewhat interesting item. It's been taken out of the hands of the position 4s somewhat, but still very nice to have. Moon getting tossed back. Creep's gonna die, so this will be a couple of free tower shots. Moon will not end up dropping to this, but I think he just used his salve earlier, so... Bottle gonna take a little while, and he's only got a couple of tangos to his name to heal back up. Though Ember, in general, the laning stage tends not to matter that much, and he's got Empower this game to help him as well. Though it will be a little bit more difficult for the two cores to get Empower, given that they are playing with position 3 Magnus and not like a 4 or 5 Magnus. Ice is going to have other responsibilities this game. And finally the Gush getting scaled up. 23 Savage a long ways up here at top, and you can see that 2 armor just getting completely shredded away. Still surviving. DJ's coming over now to help out, but he also just wanted to get this side pull going. The one nice thing is that they have the Keeper of the Light to also, and the Lesh to be able to spam waves, so it doesn't just have to be the Magnus, and that'll free up the Magnus to be playing with his other heroes just a little bit more. James is still playing very aggressively at mid. But the Tiny needs this. He needs a good start. They need to get the tempo going. They're not going to win this with Tiny and Tide by just sitting back and farming. Though I would be cautious to dismiss their late game. Tidehunter, amazing late game hero. Gyrocopter with enough farm is just an absolute beast. So I have learned my lesson. I am not going to say that the Wraith King Mag Ember is just an auto win in the late game Avatos combination, but it's actually the first blood at bottom. Grim's being brought down, though. Jamesy still will find this kill over at mid. And I think that solo kill is going to end up being the bigger deal. Grims just died under his tier 1 on the bottom lane. Van making an attempt on DJ. He's got a big stick and a Fairy Fire, looking for the turnaround. Goes for the stun, only lands it onto 1. 23 Savage still fighting with the skeletons, but they get cleaned up nicely by the Tidehunter. Savage still chasing, going to be looking for this Wraithfire Blast. Doesn't even need it, and DJ with the Split Earth back off cooldown. Thinking about coming in here, but realizes quickly that the bounty runes are the bigger objective. And we'll just go and secure both of those for his team. So Cignal getting their own on the bottom, and it will end up being 2 for 2 across the board. And Tide CS is going to be pretty inflated this game. We'll switch over to net worth maybe a bit before 10 minutes just to have a look. Oh, Avalanche, move, now toss, getting punched. Jamesy's still chasing him. Needs to get this tower aggro off of him, however. But Tiny's just so tanky. 1300 HP at level 6. It's gonna be very difficult to gank him. DJ's kind of lurking in the neighborhood, though. I think this smoke is primarily for a couple of wards. He would love another ward without being spotted, but... does he see this? Okay, now he sees it. Hasn't been revealed yet. Jabs. Just playing some games with Grims. Jamesy does find himself a regenerate. Very nice. What does 23 Savage have queued up? He does still have the Midas queued up. I was wondering if the Midas was still going to be the choice, given that he's got the Magnus on his team. But no Radiance just yet, so we'll keep an eye out for that, as DJ is just completely warding up mid. You can see Fnatic they've made the call. They know that... oh, that regen immediately getting cancelled. They've made the call. They know where they want to focus their attention this game. Their Ember is pretty much their best hero for the two supports to be ganking around. And they want to protect the Ember as well. A little bit of pressure on the Rubik. Lift's already been used. What's happening over here? Van is under the tower, but he's got his creeps, so he's okay. 23 Savage being somewhat greedy, going for all of his skill points, nothing in the reincarnation just yet. There's damage on the Tide, but he's got his chainmail. He's chilling. What's happening over here? D-ward battle? Oh, Grim's actually managed to kill off the Observer Ward. Very nice. Jab's got the sentry, no big deal. James now coming in, 4 points in the avalanche. It's big damage. Blinding light knocking him back though. Mono leak as well. And not enough damage left in the tank for James. He did not have the tree grab ready. What's happening over here? DJ's getting chased down. Looks for the stun. Doesn't want to turn around for it. Van, 1 second to go on the gush. Doesn't even need it. Fade bolt from the Rubik. Puts the Lesh in the ground and brings it back to 2-2 on the kills. So not a ton of rotating happening just yet. Both teams do not have the most impressive ganking supports, like Abaddon especially. And Grims has been on an extremely deep warding mission. Very much a mirror of what we saw DJ doing a little bit earlier. So the battlefield is being set. It's definitely the mid lane. And we'll see what further kills and what further pressure we have on these mid-tier 1 towers. As Grims is now rotating over towards top lane. 23 Savage, like I mentioned, doesn't have that reincarnation, and nobody is TPing to help him out. This double damage Tiny just punches him down. Alright, so 23 Savage dies here. I think he's likely just going to respawn and like TP bottom or just TP elsewhere. Don't think he's too interested in staying in this top lane. And Isis has picked up some treads. They got 3 points in the Empower, so it's really still very much a farm game for Fnatic. But top 3 CS, all on the side of Cignal, though net worth paints a slightly different story as Tiny is just running around everywhere. Moon maybe not realizing that he's sitting right on top of a ward, and James, he's not done. He's just charging in here. He's got the Abaddon not too far behind him, but doesn't. What the heck is that? Doesn't feel like there's any real way to punish him. There is a TP coming in from the Magnus, so they've got all 3 of their cores down here now for Fnatic, but the TP is just too long. Ice gives it up. And Cignal are still the ones controlling this Radiant side of the map, putting on some pressure. 23 Savage, just farming his stack, but Grim's here to steal some experience at the very least. Pretty chill early game, all things considered. Nando's just going for a drum. Nothing too shocking for the Gyrocopter. It does seem as though Cignal are going to be trying to make more use of this early game. Abaddon, a long way up. Grims, he put that aphotic shield out, but it immediately got cancelled. Call down now coming in. 23 Savage still does not have this point up in the reincarnation, and the Rocket Barrage plus Ravage. 2 big fairly big ultimates being used there in the Bounty Rune battle, but I think a 1-for-1 trade that Cignal are more than happy to take, and with that, Cignal are going to end up securing... What, did they just secure 3? Or is that all 4? Bounty, Bottled Bounty, Nando Bounty. Yeah, they just got all of them. Okay. Moon is playing a dangerous game at mid. What is he up to? Okay. Just fading a little bit. Cignal just rotate bottom, looking towards this tier 1 tower. Do we have any kind of counter rotation for Fnatic? It doesn't really seem like it. DJ is sort of pressuring top. They've got a Catapult and Edict up here as Jab's actually dying over in the jungle. They still have not managed to remove this ward. He must be... I don't know if he's confused, but the way that they've been playing, he thought that they had a deeper ward. Didn't consider that it was just up here on the high ground. And that bottom tier 1 tower gets taken out as the Rubik continues to hold on to the top tier 1. So there will be no trade, and Cignal now up 2k. All 3 of their cores on top of the net worth. And they've really, these wards from Fnatic, I think they were anticipating that they would be able to make some deeper moves and some ganks into the dire jungle, but it's actually been Cignal controlling the pace of the game and keeping everything kind of over in the Radiant jungle. So it feels as though these 2 wards for Fnatic have just been almost a total waste. They haven't set up a single gank on the Gyro or the Tiny or anything like that. That might not have been their intention. Maybe they just wanted to see where people were on the map so that they could keep pushing it out and kind of being efficient. You know, they are at the moment sort of in a holding pattern, just waiting for Ember to get some farm. Wraith King's going to be farming for the next few hours. Not really any point in checking him out. Jabs. Alright, there's the first miss. Nando's still chasing him. Doesn't have any mana, in fact. And maybe this This horseman is just too fast. Jabs gets out of there. Very nice blinding light. Grim's still in here with the deep wards. The one that he planted a little bit earlier got removed, so he comes in, puts another one up on the high ground. Still has this one in between the two towers, though it's only going to be here for another minute. And with the Ravage back off cooldown, Van's just walking in here. Not a care in the world. Ice not going for a blink. It's just working towards a pipe, it looks like. And Cignal, their wave does get cut, but I don't think they had any intention of going for anything else. Just take the tier 1 and back to farming. Nando is actually going Diffusal Blade on his Gyrocopter. I guess just sort of to deal with the Wraith King potentially, but this is a very different approach from what I was expecting. So as much as I was earlier being like, oh yeah, if it goes late enough, I feel like you don't want to discount the Gyrocopter versus the Ember Wraith King, but Cignal's read on this game is just like, well, we're winning it right now. Why would we not just grab a bunch of early game items and try and close this out as fast as possible? And that really seems what they're going for. You can see the timing coming together, right? The Diffusal Blade's being built. They got this blink. They got the Vlad's and the Tide. He's going for a pipe next. Like that's kind of the timing. I don't know what Tiny's gonna go for next. Maybe Echo Saber has taken the 30 damage. Pretty standard on core Tiny. Ice looking for something at mid, but Tiny's not an easy kill. And there's also the Abaddon in the area. Finally has his level 6 picked up. Just floating the skill point to get a bit more value out of it for that first activation. Rubik. I don't know if you go Lens this game. It's a pretty good Lens game, but also you might just want Blink because your team does not have the best initiation. Like, Tiny's pretty good, but Tide's not going to buy a Blink for a little while. Oh, Jabs is dead again. Jamesy is doing such a good job of controlling this shrine area on Radiant. And you can kind of see that he's like getting into Jab's head a little bit. Like, there's a bunch of sentry wards around here. He feels as though they should maybe have control of this area of the map. But they really just don't. Nice SI's hiding in the trees. DJ just ratting a bit. Fnatic really playing the slow push game, but they know that Jamesy TP'd to the top side of the map, so should be difficult for Cignal to contest these bottom bounties, but they're just a little bit too slow. Van going for the TP out, and is that a whiffed combo with the chains? Ice forced to use the skewer just to interrupt that stun. Not gonna land. Van actually just gonna look for the turnaround here. Ravage connecting onto 3. He's healing as well. Grims comes in with the shield. Moon wants to finish this kill, but I'm not sure if it's gonna be enough. He's forced to commit the final remnant. Abaddon healing up a little bit. Grims is gonna go looking for DJ. Can he finish this kill? Dragged back. Jab's also coming in, wanting to help out Moon. DJ just surviving. They do have Rubik kind of in the area, but Jabs is gonna say no, and Nando and Jamesy finally connecting on the other side. Does Nando have his defusal? Okay, so Nando's got his defusal. He's feeling strong. He wants to fight, but they don't see a whole lot here. They catch a glimpse of the Ember. They need to be careful. They're moving into Radiant Vision now. Fnatic could just pick their fight. They're going to put the Will-O-Wisp down, dragging both of them in. The RP now immediately onto the Gyrocopter. Nando thought that he could do plenty of damage here, but he might just get popped. The team can't help him out. Grims finally arrived. They get the heal at the last second. Jamesy looking to focus down Moon. Wants to finish him off. Nice done from DJ. Locks him back just a little bit longer. Jabs gets caught out and finally brought down the Gyrocopter, needing every little bit of his bonus stats there to survive. The double Wraith Band and the drum helping to keep him up. And that's both the RP and the Will-O-Wisp used for no kill on Fnatic. That is pretty scary. It really seemed like Gyrocopter was about to get punished for just playing so cocky. That would be a classic Nando play to... Well, actually, I think the classic Nando is just being off farming in no man's land. Ice. Meanwhile, okay, just hitting the mid tier 1. I guess getting some information for his team, dragging people there. They do end up losing Grims elsewhere, but what was that about? I guess maybe he just feels like there's no vision. and he wants to create an opportunity for the two side lanes to get pushed out. I don't think he had any reasonable expectation of playing his way out of that situation, but I guess he just wants to buy time, make space, let Wraith King farm his Radiance, let Ember farm his Deso, and hope that they have made the right gamble in just sort of playing this for the late game. Grim's at it again, hoping for some deep wards. Getting run out a little bit. He does not quite have the borrowed time, actually. 1 second to go on that one. Van now coming in. Ravage thrown out. They're looking to focus down Ice first. He's dead. 23 Savage just going to try and walk this one off, though there is the missile on top of him. Jabs with the Will-O-Wisp. Will buy the space for his team, but they're still chasing after Savage. Rubik actually skewering down onto the low ground. Jabs doing everything in his power to get this Wraith King out of harm's way, but Cignal will not be denied. They get the slow onto him. Savage gonna try for the TP out, but the stun is stolen and turned around in his face. Cignal look for him on the second life. They're losing bottom tier 1 in the meantime, but they're gonna be more than happy to make that trade as Nando finds himself a double kill. Moon applying a little bit of pressure, and net worth is still pretty even, but such a weird game. I don't know about you guys, but I just feel like we don't often see this kind of, like, one team being so dedicated to the idea of we can't fight now, we have to go full split push and just play for the late game. Like, nobody on Fnatic really, other than, you know, Moon maybe occasionally killing Grims or something like that, none of them are playing for kills currently. They're just playing for lane position and objectives. They smoke up. I think this is mostly just a warding smoke from Fnatic. They know that they need some split push wards. They have literally 0 wards on the map currently. So once again, they pressure the mid lane. Moon trying to scout out where people are. Cignal keeping him locked down nicely, but they just don't have the lockdown. The lift was there for the Rubik, but don't know if they were going to get that one. Okay, so Jabs gets a nice split push ward down. And another this is a super conservative ward. Like, this is a... You're never going to deward this in a million years. But it only gives a sliver of vision. But the one thing I can say for Fnatic is that they've got a cohesive game plan. And all it comes down to now is whether or not Cignal can execute, and they can try and force this game closed. TP coming bottom. Ember. Try and buy a little bit more time, clear out the wave. Make life difficult. It is always going to be really hard for Cignal to push up onto the high ground. Lift now coming in. Have a toss combo. Moon was playing cocky, but good positioning from the Rubik. Pops out at the last moment, and now Cignal, maybe they found an opportunity here to bust up onto the high ground. There is a TP available from the Keeper of the Light, but only 2 points in the Illuminate. So this is not going to clear the creep wave all that quickly. And Cignal already up onto the high ground. Moon forced to buy back. Mid's getting pushed out by 23 Savage, but he's not interested in coming back just yet. And Ice not really committed either, so... Okay, the buyback is going to be enough to get Cignal to reconsider, and they back themselves out. Nando, BKB will be the next choice. Jamesy did end up going for the Echo Saber. And we've now got pipes completed on both the Tidehunter and the Magnus. Ice even helping the Skeletons farm a little bit. They're almost at the Radiance. I don't think this game 100% turns by any stretch of the imagination once he gets the Radiance, but it is going to make life more difficult. But this is the thing, you can't sleep on Gyrocopter. It's not like Gyro has gone for the biggest farming build. It's not like he has somebody spoon-feeding him mana like the Crystal Maiden or the Keeper of the Light. This hero, naturally, if you've got a lot of space controlled on the map, he finds a lot of farm. I think they have been stacking for him a little bit, but you know, this is a Midas empowered Wraith King versus the Gyrocopter, and the Gyrocopter is still a decent ways ahead. And now with his BKB getting delivered, he's going to be very difficult to kill. He's also got the Abaddon sitting behind him. Fnatic. The game plan has not changed. Unfortunately for them, their split pushing wards are all on the top side, and that's the lane that's currently being assaulted by Cignal. Moon might be able to go over and cut top wave a little bit, but he seems to prefer the idea of just taking some damage on this mid tier 2 currently, looking for a little bit of a trade. Ice, just being a distraction. Hasn't got the pipe off just yet, gets tossed back. Pipe now popped, still has the skewer to try and escape. James is staying on top of him. Skewer now down onto the low ground as the mid tier 3 tower is actually taking a lot of damage from Moon. This is full on Rat Dota. He spots that the Rubik has come back and not willing to play any games after that last death. Cignal are split up though. Nando, is his 10-second BKB gonna get forced? DJ's looking for him. Nando actually going to be looking for the turnaround. Gets the immediate Yules onto James. See DJ losing a lot of life. Nando gets RP. That's wasting a lot of his BKB duration, but he wants to keep on going for it. Looks at Moon next. He does have 3 remnants, but none out currently. Jumps himself a little bit further away. Nando still chasing in. Moon needing to be somewhat careful. They're actually going to toss the gyrocopter forward. Jamesy with a crazy play. Are they going to lose Nando for that? The blast is not quite going to land. 23 Savage arrives, but Van is also here with the Ravage turnaround. They finally lose Nando on the backline since Cignal. Have they bit off a little bit too much? They get 3 kills, but they lose their big carry, and with that, 23 Savage is going to overtake the gyrocopter. He got the last hit, I believe, with just some tick damage and the Radiance. And, ooh, that's scary. That's Gyrocopter's 10-second BKB. And there's still tier 2 to take mid, tier 2 to take top. Tide, Blink next. Tiny, BKB next. Baden, he's position 5. That's his life. That's his next item. Just being position 5. He's get denied real fast. Ice. Just buying buff items. Not interested in the big RP plays. Just going to be full buff bot. Very reliable. You can see it. Ice says shove mid, shove bottom. Keep playing for the lanes. Unfortunately, this Ember Spirit is having a pretty woeful time. I really thought that with the Empower and whatnot he would catch up, but goes to show that Ember, a little bit starved of kills, and with a couple of pretty nasty deaths, has fallen behind quite a bit. Did go for the +1 Searing Chains, I suppose. Even though he's going for the BKB, I guess the +1 Chains synergizes a little bit better with the Keeper of the Light. Van is scouting out the Roche currently. Decided to go for a medallion instead of completing his Blink Dagger. And Fnatic are smoking into Roshan. Wait, no, there's no way they get away with this, right? Hello? Cignal? Hello? What on earth is this? 23-7, I guess nobody got clipped by the Radiance. It doesn't reach that far outside of the pit. And Fnatic getting away with murder. 23 Savage just gonna turn and try and fight this one. Fnatic are not in the best of positions. And Savage isn't the one with the Aegis, that is Moon. Fnatic trying to claim a high ground, looking for this fight. They need to keep the Keeper of the Light alive, at least until he gets the Will-O-Wisp out. Call down connecting onto nothing. 23 Savage getting isolated from his team. Fnatic are chasing towards the dire side of the map, just trying to keep this fight going. Savage, he's gonna lose his first life. What are they actually doing? It's DJ pushing on the bottom racks. Grims finally forced to pop his ultimate. Ice holding onto the RP. 23 Savage with that 10-second BKB getting chased down by Nando with a BKB of his own. Fnatic are just keeping the distraction going as the Ravage finally comes out. 23 Savage will be brought down. Fnatic, can they actually get any kind of a kill here? DJ trading off. The RP now comes in, but there's just no damage alive. Van has absolutely nothing to worry about. He heals up. Jamesy with one more Avitas combination brings him down, and Fnatic just... They got away with the Roshan, but then they just couldn't get away cleanly, and now Jamesy, godlike lift onto the Ember. They've got a toss for him. An avalanche. Is it enough? Chainstun. Moon forced to jump away. There is a homing missile on him, but not going to land quite in time. Okay, so the tier 3 bottom took a little bit of damage, but... Oh man, that was so weird. Man, the Wraith King TP getting interrupted was absolutely the worst thing that could have happened there. I think any other hero, they're either not that valuable. Like if it had been the 3-4-5, Fnatic wouldn't have cared. And if it had been the Ember, I think the Ember can just... Either he loses the Aegis and escapes, or he potentially plays his way out of it, but... Oh, okay, he's chained in the fountain. Good stuff. But either, you know, any of those situations, they're fine. But it just so happens that it's the Wraith King getting cancelled, and things get ugly from there. They still, you know, they still got good high ground defense. They've still got their Aegis. But Nando is back on top on the net worth. He's got his Aghanim Scepter. Gonna be going for the butterfly next. And Savage just gonna be going for a Silver Edge. What's that? They want the Silver Edge to like kill Tide and Abaddon, I suppose. What's happening at mid? Mood's buying space. Lift onto Jabs. Let's have a Glimmer Cape in a couple of seconds. Rubik going for the Illuminate. Okay, Will-O-Wisp down, controlling the two supports. Moon committing somewhat. As they do force out the Abaddon ultimate. Rubik doesn't have a borrowed time to save him, and Abaddon getting dragged in once more. Double kill for 23 Savage. Now they continue the pursuit. Moon jumping in with another chains. Tiny being isolated, and they don't even... Nando's not even anywhere close here. His TP is on cooldown. Jamesy is just getting run down. He pops his BKB and tries for the walk away with the phase boost. It's coming off cooldown soon. Ice with the drive-by. RP down. Tidehunter finally jumping in. Pops the Ravage, but 23 Savage, he just shrugs it off. He's got a BKB. Ice being saved for the moment with the Glimmer Cape, and 23 Savage. The King's here, baby. Double kill so far, make it a triple. Moon's chasing for more inside of the base. He spots Nando with no BKB, and Savage, he's got him in his sights. He's stunned up at the tick damage, and DJ's stun finishes him off. And all of a sudden, Fnatic are just all over the Dire base. Oh no, Cignal. They choose to take a fight without their gyrocopter. The gyro is off chasing... Was he chasing one of the supports at bottom? Just a complete miscommunication, committing for that fight with no way for their gyrocopter to get there, and with both of their supports dead. I think they could have just ditched the supports, but they got baited by Jabs. Jabs just... He's been such an easy kill this entire game, and then all of a sudden, you've got this lift on Jabs, and your Rubik is telling you to kill him. And then both of your supports are dead, then both of your other cores are dead, and then your carry's dead, and your 5-man wiped, and you're wondering where your net worth lead went. Just like that. That's Dota. That's Dota right there. You make one mistake. It's not even that big of a mistake, right? Well, there are degrees, sure, but this right here is Dota. That's Dota for you. You make one silly mistake, and you go from, oh yeah, about 50-50 shot to win this game, to 96% versus 4%. Fnatic, with that, have taken 2 full lanes of racks, and they have a 12k net worth lead. It looks like the game at this point is just absolutely theirs. Everyone's rolling around with a ton of gold. We've got plenty of items coming up soon for Fnatic that are just going to make this game harder and harder for Cignal. And what have they got? Nando's going to be going for Mjolnir in a sec. Tiny just working on a Crystallis. What can they find? Moon continuing this split push game. He does not see a whole lot. Spots Nando. The gank squad is still looking for him, but still easily able to cut these waves. Jumping back, they've actually camped on top of the Remnant. Can they bring him down? Moon, that's his last Remnant. He's going to go for the TP out. Now the Ravage getting committed. Just to try and bring him down. Is it going to be enough? It will. Okay, Fnatic seeing that, immediately just... They don't even need to shove the other lanes, do they, huh? Because they are now self-shoving lanes, because they've just taken both of these racks. So in fact, they can just... they can kind of just farm. As much as it's a nice pick, I don't know if it changes Cignal's position that much. So what do they have to do now? I think they actually have to farm like 2 more items on Tiny. I think Tiny needs Daedalus Ags or something for them to win this game. You need like Daedalus, Eggs, Tiny, and Refresher Tide, and they just have to be able to take a straight up 5-on-5. Wraith King's gonna get 6 slotted no matter what. There's nothing that you can do about that at this point. What was Wraith King even going for? What's this? Alright, so he's going MKB. I guess he's seen... no, hasn't seen Talisman or anything. Little Radiance toggle off to get the efficiency Midas. Very nice. Grant would be proud. But very... I mean, a bit sloppy from Cignal, but a very cool game. Like, very interesting to see this kind of a Magnus build with the full utility, not really about the RP at all. The way that Fnatic were so willing to just sacrifice heroes for vision and information and just to shove out the lanes, and the confidence to head into the late game and just play for that timing. Nando, I see him thinking about it. Jump in chains, BKB immediately getting forced out. I don't know why they started that with Moon. I suppose they don't really have too many better options. And Cignal, why would you take this fight with your Gyrocopter's BKB now on cooldown? Everybody needs to calm down and get out of there. Gotta wait a minute before they can do anything. I guess they don't really have anybody better, huh? Yeah, there's really nobody better. Maybe they could have, like, Yules, but he still would have BKB'd. So no matter what, outcome would have kind of been the same. Fnatic play some Disciplined Dota, come and take out this shrine. Keep on farming, keep Cignal pinned inside of their base. They can't fight while the BKB is down. Grims, I like the way that this man plays 5. The warding movement and now picking up this gem. Definitely the best things that he can do in this situation, though. We'll see if it's enough to change their fate. Has the win probability shifted at all? Yeah. This block was just all brutally Fnatic. Yeah, just got a Maelstrom. It's gonna help push out these waves a bit, but they're still kind of trapped in their base all the time. Can they make any kind of a rotation for the 35-minute bounty runes? That seems to be the intention, as they now go for a 5-man smoke, making their way out. What are they hoping for? Roshan's going to be respawning in 20 seconds, so bounties and Rosh. It looks like Cignal might be gambling on the Roshan somewhat. Nando's actually sticking around. He's hoping for it. 5 seconds to go. If he holds his nerve, he would have potentially scouted that out. But Cignal... realizing that the lanes are getting a bit close to the base. Ping from Ice saying maybe just check the Rosh, or that it could be up. So they now head out. He's got a Crimson Guard on top of everything. And Fnatic will be the ones to successfully scout. So we got a Daedalus on the Ember Spirit. Look out for those big crits. Nando steals it up into the air. Nice Ravage looking for the counter initiation. Wraith King does have the BKB, not going to pop it yet. DJ. First target, 23 Savage, also brought down. Back to the world of the living soon. Ice coming over off to the side. Buyback from DJ. Senses their opportunity that this might be the fight. 2 cores getting caught by the Will-O-Wisp. One on the high ground. Nando just pushing out lanes, unwilling to commit back into the fight with no BKB. And Fnatic, seeing that the Roshan is up, just immediately head into the pit. Cignal just do not have the resources. The Ravage and the BKB only getting through the first life on the Wraith King, only getting through the Leshrac, who immediately buys back, and now they have themselves an Aegis. Wait, there should be a cheese, right? Yeah, cheese on the Lesh. And I guess just go and force their way up onto the high ground. They could wait for the Will-O-Wisp if they wanted to. But Ravage on cooldown for 90 seconds, Tide dead with no buyback for 45. And Fnatic will be looking for their final lane of racks here in just a moment's time. Nando, can he buy anything? I guess he just saves for buyback. Lots of buybacks available. Could see an Ember commit, get a kill, die, respawn Aegis, get a kill, die, buyback, Remnant in. I think Fnatic just throw everything that they have into this fight at this stage. Just have to the front lines. Gyrocopter, once again, they're trying to force out this BKB. They're poking, they're prodding. They're trying to make Nando make a bad decision. constant chain spam. Grims is doing his best to keep him alive, but Nando's still only about half HP at the moment. Wraith King does already have the talent for this. Not really going to matter too much that he's got this Diffusal Blade at this point. And, well, that's Gyro BKB forced, and Fnatic just going for the reset. Savage going to heal up off the creep wave. And in they go once again. Finish off the melee barracks. What can they do? Maybe go for a toss back? They got to get the tier 4s involved somehow. Tidehunter still 18 seconds to go. Have a toss. Alright, it's first life on Moon. Wraith King. BKB still available. Savage is trying to commit. DJ waiting outside of the base. Just throwing out Solar Crest. I think Medallion probably, also coming in from the Magnus. They're buffing up 23 Savage as much as humanly possible. They will find that secondary melee barracks. 23 Savage with the BKB runaway. Tide gonna look for the Ravage. Waiting for it. He gets stunned. Now the Will-O-Wisp coming in. Can he finally let this Ravage loose? Fnatic have actually kited away from him. And there's no opportunity now. DJ in the trees. They're baiting Nando. Too much chain stun. Cignal gonna try and bail him out of here. Can they keep 23 Savage alive? Finally, the Ravage coming out of the backlines. It controls Moon. He won't be able to do his damage. Ice, ice, ice. RP finally finds the opportunity. RP's being stolen. But Rubik, what can he actually do with it? He's looking towards Moon, who jumps further away. He saw exactly what happened. Nando's not dead yet. Now the RP comes back. Turn towards the Magnus. We did have a buyback from Savage. He's coming back in. Looking to save a buddy. Not going to work. Van looks like he will get right-click down. Nando escaping into the base. Just trying to keep these tier 4 towers alive, but it seems like it might just be a story of Fnatic having too many resources for this point of the game. They throw they throw a pretty big buyback into that, and once again, Cignal unable to get enough out of the Ravage. What are Fnatic chilling for? I guess they've actually only got 3 alive. Can they go get the Mega Creeps? That's what they want. But I guess they gotta show a little bit more respect to the Gyrocopter. He's now got a Satanic picked up. Nando, we've seen him getting chain stunned. We've seen him getting poked and prodded and threatened into using the BKB. This is as good as a secondary BKB in these kind of situations. So I still don't think the game is looking great for them, and Dota Plus agrees, but very difficult to count out a Gyrocopter once you get into that ultra late game. I think there is still somewhat of a chance here for Cignal, but they're gonna have to hold for a while, and then they have to get the third Roche. Okay, it has to be third Roche, and I think they have to get a Refresher Shard and kind of go from there. That Savage buyback, it actually hurts. It's going for Ags next. So he's got that completed in a second. It's gonna let the Lesh do a lot of damage, lets the Magnus play a little bit more crazy, and still have sort of the guaranteed RP. They do have RP back off cooldown soon, just snagging a couple more bounty runes for themselves here. But what is that actually translating into item-wise? Moon has not picked up anything new, really. Feels like everybody is mostly sitting on the same stuff, though. Keeper of the Light has a lot of gold. 4,500 for jabs. And Refresher is going to be the choice. Cignal playing together. Moon scouts this out on the high ground a little bit. Has another slight chains ready to go. They're going to start poking and prodding onto the Tide. Jamesy just commits. BKB and Cheese both forced out of Moon. So Jamesy just going to pop his BKB and walk away. The Will-O-Wisp is up on the high ground, keeping the Tide out of the fight. He does have a Ravage available. They're trying to focus the Ignis Fadus, but they're getting knocked back. BKB now forced out from Nando. Needs to be careful about the commitment. Oh no, they tossed the Tide! Not the best coordination from Cignal. I don't know if he was willing to pop the Ravage, but they were trying to threaten for it. And now Jamesy's losing a lot of life. 23 Savage sees his opportunity. Jamesy's dead. Will he use the buyback? He will. Gyrocopter being saved. He's got Grims waiting for him on the back lines. RP was still in the tank for the Rubik, but he gets chased down by DJ. 23 Savage. That's life number 1. Magnus unable to come in here for the RP. Nando still holding on to the Satanic. Needs that healing. Needs to be careful of the mischance. Moon. RP not going to be used. Van finds a beautiful Ravage. And Nando is healing up with the Satanic. They bring down the Magnus. He is still alive for a few more seconds in ghost form, but they can't kill this Gyrocopter. Nando, he's ascended here. They do still have big problems back at home. They lose one of the tier 4s. And the rest of the heroes are all still mortal. That 1.1k crit cuts Uri's clean in half. Moon, still playing aggro, is finally going to be brought down, in fact. Jamesy turns around and gives him the tree. Van trying to escape, but very difficult to get the blink off with this Radiance tick, 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 constantly canceling. Needed the pipe. Nice blink forward from DJ to land that final stun. And Fnatic perhaps finally in a position to take the mega creeps. Nando trying to hold on to his high ground. 23 Savage does have a secondary life. Buyback coming in from Moon. He finds himself in an arcane rune on his way over to this fight. Savage just goes for the BKB TP and he is gone.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Well, Cignal still keeping this competitive at the very end of the game, but they are now down mega creeps. They are, well, the whole game is very short on buybacks. Nobody really has anything left. And we are now in rapier territory, ladies and germs.
May the light keep you.
Let's, okay, Jabs now has his refresher. Well, we've seen them struggle to deal with one Will-O-Wisp. Two, of course, not as powerful as it previously was since they're synced, but still going to be a real pain. And I don't think they can kill both of them reliably. So, yeah. I guess at this point, all Fnatic have to do is secure the Roche, go and close out the game. Just play together, really. How do they lose at this point? Red King still doesn't have buyback. I guess Ember doesn't have buyback either. This is still winnable. How healthy is this tier 4? Hey, this is not healthy. Nando's charging. Feeling confident. Gotta watch out for these skeletons, though. What level is Leshrac? Level 23. DJ is just full on. I mean, he's not a full core, but he has taken the position 3 spot away from old Ice 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 at this point, who's still just sitting on his Crimson Pipe and Medallion. Not upgrading the Medallion because they've already got a Solar on the Lesh. So can stack him up. I guess if that's the... If armor is just getting nerfed, if your Wraith King's phase boots and, you know, the Medallion by itself is not enough, I suppose this is the solution. Yeah, DJ constantly applying this pressure. If Cignal ever try and leave the base, he's going to be in there, he's going to take that remaining tier 4 and force your glyph, which Cignal will need... They need every resource they can get at this stage. Fnatic even just going for more bounties. Savage to change his mind. Okay. Looks like there's been quite a lot of team discussion going on as to what to buy on the Wraith King. Like he had Abyssal and Blink queued up earlier. Now he's got the Silver Edge queued up. We've got a double damage for the Ember. And he does have the 2 Sleight of Fist charges. Pretty scary. And what do we got? Okay, we got a Refresher Shard on the Roche. Okay, who's taking what? DD gets popped. Aegis and the Refresher for the Ember. I guess just, what, refresh all of his charges, refresh all of his BKB. Seems good. Why not? Alright, Cignal, can you hold? Here comes the challenge. We're going to switch it over to buyback status, though it's a pretty sad state of affairs. Nando has picked up the full Butterfly. That is at the cost of losing his Diffusal Blade, but like we talked about earlier, Wraith King already has the talent, so perhaps not the biggest deal in the world. And... oh! I haven't seen that before, but that is pretty next level. Jabs is just using the gem to check high grounds. I actually had never considered that, but that is so cool. Alright. Gyro still being protected by the Abaddon. at this point with the Satanic, the Butterfly, and Grim sitting behind him, there's pretty much no way, I think, to force Nando's BKB. The problems that he was having earlier is he was getting chipped down to like half HP, and then he was just worried that he might die in the duration of a stun. Not so, now that he's just constantly healing with the Ag Satanic. And he's not done fully scaling yet. He can, you know, consume this Ags potentially. Moon goes forward, looking to see what he can see. Ice. Still on this full support path, just going for the Vlad. Nando doing decent damage to Savage. DJ's just in the back lines. Will-O-Wisp #1. DJ focusing down the supports. He brings down the Rubik. Savage chasing forward. DJ with the cheese, keeping himself alive. Moon in here, still has the Aegis. They're going for Grims next. They bring him down. Backline's dead first. They now turn their attention over towards Nando. He gets RP'd. He's dead. The Tide, nothing that he could do to protect him. James, he's just sitting here inside of his Shadow Blade, wondering what he's supposed to do. He finally jumps in as he sees his Ancient is getting destroyed. But it's too late. Fnatic have taken the win. And that is going to be the end of Game 1. Fnatic one step closer to an appearance at the MDL Major. They held out. They suicided for Vision. They bought time for the Wraith King, and they found a super crucial opportunity. It almost didn't look like everything had worked out. You know, they managed to sneak that Roche. It looked amazing. Then 23 Savage gets caught and dies afterwards. You think, okay, maybe Cignal Ultra, you know, they can still take these fights. The Gyrocopter is still pretty scary, and then all of a sudden we have one fight where the Gyrocopter just can't be in attendance. They lose 4 outside of the base. They lose the Gyrocopter inside of the base, and I think the end of that game as well goes to show you that supports, even though they're not getting as much priority in terms of the net worth, they are just so important. Like, the reason that Cignal Ultra lose that fight as badly as they do is not only the fact that the Gyrocopter wasn't there, but also the 2 supports just die first. And you could see it from Fnatic in that very last fight as well, that they went for the supports first. DJ blinked in, he immediately killed off the Rubik. He wanted to enable his Magnus, he wanted to make life a little bit easier for Moon, and then they focused on the Abaddon just to make the Gyrocopter that little bit more killable. Good, really nice team fighting from Fnatic, and a few mistakes from Cignal, kind of making that look a little bit less competitive than I think it could have been towards the end. But it was always going to be really hard for them to find some pickoffs and then march their way towards the high ground against the lineup that Fnatic had. So that's going to wrap it up for Game 1, guys. Hope you enjoyed. We're going to head to a quick break, and when we come back, Fnatic versus Cignal Ultra. You guys are going to want to see this. If Fnatic can win this next one, they are heading to the Major. Cignal, of course, this isn't do or die for them. If they lose this, there is still going to be one more round of matches. The third place team out of the Major qualifier for SEA is still going to the Major, so their chances are still pretty good, though of course they would prefer to get through in this first round. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll head to a break, and I'll be back here for game number 2 in just a couple of minutes.